Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. Adam Golding, Antonio Damasio, semantic marker hypothesis.
Huh. There should be a live
Old video there that lasted 7 minutes. It says you're live. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I think I see it.
Yeah, if you're able to put
live video interrupted. It has been paused and will resume shortly.
Oh, well, that's not good.
And it has one person viewing it, which I guess is me. Actually, I think it's coming back. But we are encountering technical difficulties. Oh, okay. Is there something you'd like me to do? I'm dead generally.
Are you able to hear me? Am I freezing on your end?
I can hear you. You are freezing. You're kind of like the visual is a bit freezy, but I can hear you okay.
Well, let's see how long you can hear me for.
Sure.
All right. Well, welcome to Livestream of Consciousness, which is about as organized as it sounds. You know, Aaron, I was going to originally just sort of ask you what was on your mind, but actually right before we were supposed to do this, a series of events happened in Kensay Market that I thought I would tell you about.
Okay.
Aaron's, and that he should learn to care about people. And I remember thinking, well, I suppose that's good advice, but it's not clear that it's good for the context. I wonder why she's telling him that. And so I was sort of listening to their conversation, and she was saying, like, it's important to care about people. And he was saying, kind of absurdly, no, I don't care about people. And I'm thinking, well, I guess so far I'm on her side. Like, on the surface of it, it sounds like he's taking an indefensible position. But
this is all happening in the cheese store, you say?
Outside, because I was waiting outside.
Okay.
In the street. He was a kind of a middle-aged, and as I threatened to call the cops.
Okay.
I here, and she was saying that oh well, he like coughed in the street or something like that. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay.
So
yeah.
we're dealing with the next Amy Cooper here, and she was like, oh, but he's threatening me if he's not being safe, because like she was wearing a mask and he wasn't. I mean, he was outside. I don't know how close he got to her. I didn't see the very beginning or anything like that, but. And she was like, "You must be one of those anti-maskers." I'm like, "No, we're 2 meters apart. We're outside. Like, I can stand further away if you want." But she kept saying, "Oh, it's none of your business." And I'm like, "No, I disagree." And I kept telling her, like, that's an implicit threat. And she's like, "I didn't threaten him," although she had also just beforehand said, "Oh, like ex-boyfriend will probably," and something like this. And that alone was enough to make me pay close attention, especially because the guy was walking away from her and she was following him down the street. So it didn't seem like a conversation he wanted to have.
You cut out a little bit. She's following him down the street,
yeah.
Did you say?
Yeah. And anyway, I sort of argued with her for a while so he could go off and mind his own business. And then eventually, when some other person finally started intervening, I just said, this woman's a waste of time, and walked off with Rosie to go home. Because she wasn't arguing in any sincerity either, because she's saying, oh, I'm not, she's like, you're not, so you can say that, and that's how you're doing it. Like... It was pretty bald. I doubt she would have having the same conversation with a middle-aged white guy. Was going to intervene in the police. But
yes, I agree with you. I think that sounds like it probably would not have happened if the racial dynamics were different. But fortunately, he was able to just walk.
Ultimately, yeah.
That's good.
Well, yeah, because she was trying to provoke.
But I don't know about the case he was making. It sounds like he was defending that you shouldn't care about anyone, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible that he was a.
I don't know if I agree.
Because she was already.
I think he's allowed to say.
Yeah, she was telling him you need. It didn't happen. It really didn't happen. I was waiting for it. I was like, well, I like the philosophy, care about each other. I wonder how much she cares about.
Yeah, it does sound like a kind of philosophical argument.
Yeah, do you know where that idea comes from originally? Do you know where that idea comes from originally? The mask of compassion?
No. What exactly does it what you mean, like a kind of pseudo compassion? Is that what that phrase means, or like a veneer of compassion?
Yeah, I forget the origin or where I heard it, but it's out there. Huh.
Right. No, I don't think I know the phrase. I'm also as a rule very very bad with sayings and idioms. I will consistently prevent myself from ever using them because I always end up mixing them up.
Right.
I've lost you. Okay, and it's sure if it's playing. It seems to be.
I'll just upload it. I guess I think basically we will have to do the internet differently, but
yeah.
It's at least recording on my
end. We have one person who's commented.
Oh, do they have a question?
No, it just says yes, I am.
Well, good.
Not sure what that means.
Well, if there's any trouble on that end, I'll upload it later and take it up with Restream. But so I mean, that's fertile ground for philosophical conversation. Is any really that practical everyday interaction, so to speak?
Right. So there's a kind of there's a lot of power dynamics there, a certain kind of code and the use of police, and brings us into some interesting. So that's a good. Why don't we chat a little bit about? I guess I want to back up and think about the broader, like what my mind goes to in terms of the broader sort of philosophical issues are going to have something to do with anarchism, right? So why don't we chat a little bit about that, because I know that's a kind of ongoing interest of yours, and we can loop back to this story if we like, and think about how anarchist themes might be in play there.
Well, yeah, because I feel like the point at which I intervene is where I felt like I should call foul, because that's when she tried to invoke an unjust power difference, which is the fact that she can feel safe invoking the cops and he can't, which is exactly how it begins in the Amy Cooper story. And I don't know, I haven't heard if there's tapes that how long, if she makes the threat and then eventually escalates to making the false accusation because she's an interpretation of him as a danger to you, is he threatening your life? That's the point at which I felt she crossed the line in this interaction of just like, okay, you're arguing with somebody claiming you're taking issue with their action out of an interest in. But then the moment you're invoking, are you really fighting for fairness, ma'am? And by the way, there was another white guy who walked past her, and she was saying something like, oh, he shouldn't do blah, blah, and the guy, I didn't hear exactly what they said, but the guy said to her, like, oh, I agree with you, ma'am, and just kept on walking. And before I spoke to her, I walked up to him and was like, what do you agree with her about? And at first he'd answer, I was like, sir, what do you agree with her about? And he was like, oh, I just agree that people shouldn't like cough and spit in the street or something. I was like, oh, okay. As opposed, who knows what he agrees with her about? I didn't, and then I came up to her, I'm like, well, why don't you ask him what the dispute is? And I said, because you're the one threatening to call the police. Threatening to call the police? I'm like, yes, you just did. People aren't stupid. Because she said, the police are on their way, meaning that they just tend to be